Well, let's talk about palladium. Actually, if you got palladium back when it was in a low, back below 100, well, what was it, $160? I think it was in 2009, around there. Boy, you would have been making some bucks now. I mean, you would have been up quite a bit. Actually, I got about as much palladium as silver back then. And, well, the deal is, I was a little afraid to go too much all into one thing. But, boy, I sure wish I did go all the way into palladium, but I didn't. But actually, palladium has a bright future because it looks like the politics on the world stage has a bleak future, though. So therefore, palladium has a bright future. So anyway, this is a new palladium. It's going to have a very bright future. Probably even if you see some of the words coming out of palladium fashion, which is with the shoes and the palladium clubs, and it's almost like you got silver, gold, platinum, and palladium's on the top, and it just might turn out to be that way in worth. Now, there's a reason for that, and it's going to be a new challenge because as this thing takes off, it's going to actually be a rocky road. It's not going to be a smooth ride. Like when you got to you travel to a distance, it's not always just fun and games like Hollywood, just click a button. And just like when you're on a bike, too. I mean, you got the Hollywood version, and you got the real version when you're out there in the weather. So you're going to have to weather the storm if you invest in palladium. Now, I know it's gone up a lot, and I'm almost afraid to tell people to get at this stuff. And I know it took a major hit today, and actually maybe that's a better time to take it, buy some. But I'm going to tell you why, not only from supply and demand issues, but also from other issues, why I think it's going to go up. But it's not going to be an easy road, just like, when we look at the movies with the biker movies, we think it's just an easy ride. It's not when you actually get involved in it and you actually have your feet dipped down in it and your money's on the deal. So it's not that easy psychologically. But anyway, palladium does have a very good outlook, and I'm going to state why, because there's certain things in the world that have a terrible outlook, and I'm going to tell you what the deal is. Actually, with Russia, the tensions are actually, recently some of the tensions have went down, and that's going to greatly affect the price of palladium and platinum. Now, the reason for that is Ukraine. The issues with Ukraine are going ebb and flow, tightening and loosening, and it's like there's a ceasefire, there's a ceasefire, so there's a ceasefire, so things change. Now, actually, with palladium, let me move this map over here. Hey, computer. Actually, a lot of palladium only comes from one spot up in Norilsk, Russia. I think it's, where the heck is it? Actually, the way this map is, I can't even figure it out. It's up in northern Siberia. Actually, Siberia extends all the way down to Mongolia or something. But the thing is, 39% of the world's palladium actually comes from one mine up in northern Russia, in Norilsk. And any tensions you have with Russia actually is going to drive the price of palladium up. Actually, when we had some serious tensions with, well, it wasn't so much tensions, but it was rumors that the stockpiles were depleted back in 2001. Palladium went to over 4 times the price of gold briefly. It spiked that high. That would be pretty crazy if gold goes to several $1,000s an ounce and palladium spikes to several times the price of gold. It almost could because of tensions with Russia. Now, I'm going to also state something else. Despite all this garbage going on with Russia and everything like that, the West it's not a surefire, solid ground, financially, but actually, monetary policy in Russia has always been a big problem. Actually, their ruble went down to a greatly devalued, sometimes 10,000 rubles to one over the last 100 years. It's been basically pretty much wiped out several times over. So I'm just going to just put that out there for people because, a lot of times the alternative media who's into metals and stuff is saying the U.S. dollar is going to oblivion, and, it could be a lot of currencies that are going to oblivion, including Russian currency. Actually, I'm going to put this out here as a footnote. Vladimir Putin actually into Switzerland right here smack in the middle of Europe. That's where he's got Gunvor, his Swiss-based trading company, and it's registered in Cyprus down here someplace. Cyprus, right down here, excuse me, where it's actually a tax haven for any kind of profits he makes on commodity trades and oil and all that stuff. And this guy's got a lot of money, man. So don't let him fool you. So, I mean, but what I'm telling you right now, it's actually tensions with Russia is actually going to bring the price up a lot. And the deal is, right, today, you look at this massive $25 drop in palladium today, and you know what happened, really? You know, I think with this was due to the ceasefire in Ukraine. It looks like, you know, we got a ceasefire, there's negotiations going on, and, you know, right there. So, but overall, do you think that tensions with Russia are going to be abated? No. And actually, it's going to be a rocky road for you know, going ahead politically. But it's going to be where palladium moves ahead. Now, just like, you know, I'm going to tell you this. With the financial world, it's almost like I'm going to compare it to the biker world. You know, you got the image of the biker world. You got the girls. You know, it's like, oh, here's the Hollywood version. Here's the bike. It's all shiny. And when you get on a bike and you're actually riding in the weather and you're riding through the traffic and you're putting up with all the bugs and everything, it's not like fun and games. So, like, if you decide to get palladium right now, it's not going to be all fun and games and a straight curve up, because commodities have traditionally been high risk, high reward. And, you know, palladium's already moved up a lot, but I think it's got a lot more to go up because of tensions with Russia. But just like, you know, you're looking for an easy answer, it's almost like, you know, I'd almost compare it with the biker world, like, put it that way. You know, you got this image out here with, you know, oh, wow, all the hot chicks and the bike, and, you know, there's a lot of work to put this bike together and paint it and all this other garbage and put all this stuff on it and do the custom work. And, you know, somebody's paying these chicks. So that's what's going on, all right? So they got the reality and the easiness that's portrayed of, you know, investing, and just like you have with the Hollywood version of the biker world, it's going to be a rocky road, man. It's not going to be that simple, okay? But at the end of that rocky road, you're going to have a nice, shiny reward, you know. So I'm going to tell you that, you know, palladium is actually going to be something I think is actually temporarily, at least, going to be worth way more than gold. I don't know when that's going to occur exactly, but the big key is tensions with Russia. And, you know, it's a matter of, you know, it's a circle. You know, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to spike, and it's going to be all over the place. So you're going to have to think like Gumby, like old girl here. Old girl here is Gumby, you know. It's like you're going to have to think outside the box and be a little bit flexible on this deal. And that's why you really don't want to put all your money into commodities, like a lot of people were saying before, to put all your money into silver and all your money into gold. Now, I was advocating a lot with palladium before, but right now I'm getting a little nervous because it's been up a lot now. But I think it's got a lot more to move. Like I repeated myself here already again, but the key is tensions with Russia. But you're going to have to be flexible on this deal. And if you realize that, you know, it goes down a lot, it's probably going to go up a lot because of the tensions on Russia. And it's like, don't get bent out of shape like old girl here is getting bent out of shape, you know. But palladium is still super rare. It's supposed to be about 20 to 30 times more rare than gold by some people, some estimates. But the other thing is, 95% of it is basically used up every year. Even though they recycle stuff, there's a little more recycling coming on. It gets way more used up than silver. It gets way more percentage of it gets used up as for industry than silver. Way less of it is mined than gold, but way more of it is actually used up as a percentage than silver. There's more uses coming on for it. I know it's mainly in catalysts for cars, but the other thing is, as cars change over to hybrids, I think cars are going to be electric eventually, but as cars change over to hybrids use 30% more palladium per car than the old cars. So it's going to be like a melding of the technology before they probably go over to all electric. So palladium, and the other thing is, Russians got a lot of engineers, and I'm going to tell you this. Engineers are people that, you know, They make bikes. They make bikes like this, and the other thing is, but also engineers. I think the Russian engineers are probably going to try to find all the uses they possibly can for palladium, because they got the biggest stockpiles of it. And if it turns out they got a new invention or new technology or new, Len R was one of those things. Low energy nuclear reactions. Remember that deal that he supposedly used palladium and nickel? But I don't know if that was rumor or not, but if it was real, it should have been out by now. But say, for instance, there's loads and loads of engineers in Russia. If they come up with new uses for palladium, guess what's going to happen? It's going to make it tough on the United States and the rest of the world, because the only place, palladium, it's 39% comes from one mine in Russia, Norilsk. 43% of the world's supply every year comes from Russia. I think it's 41% or 40% comes from South Africa, around that area. And the rest of the world's supply comes from all over. I mean, but basically it's like 84% coming from Russia and South Africa, two politically unstable places. Now, in the United States, you got Stillman USA, and in Canada, you have PAL, Palladium, North American Palladium, whatever the hell it is. But I heard that company has a lot of management problems up there. That's why they ain't doing so freaking good. But anyway, Russia's going to probably come and engineer some new stuff for palladium, like this bike. Maybe they can have a bike. I don't know what the hell I'm just talking about here, but I'm just saying, the Russian engineers, they know they got a lot of palladium, and they got a lot of engineers in Russia. That's one of the damn things. They got a lot of physicians and everything like that, and they got hot chicks. But they also, if they come up with a use for palladium, more uses for palladium, they could just, cut off the spigots to the rest of the world, and the price of palladium is going to go astronomically high. So there's potential to make some serious money here still, even though it went up a lot. But it's going to be a rocky road, man. It's not going to be something that's going to be that easy. So remember, PD, palladium, 46, 106.42. Okay, anyway, the atomic density and the number on the periodic chart. But just remember, they're all right around each other, and everybody's forgetting about this deal. I mean, everybody talks about silver and gold, and sometimes they talk about platinum, but they never talk about palladium. I don't know. And actually, the big winner's been palladium over the last few years. Anyway, I guess it's just the way things go, right? What's popular is usually not what works. So, over and out, and I think it's got a lot more room to run. But like I said, it's going to be a rocky road. It's going to go up and down, up and down. I think it's going to be more volatile than silver. When it's going to get really dangerous, when it starts getting up near the price of gold. Just remember that. It's probably still a good deal, but it could be all over the place before it hits those super spikes. And remember that adjective, spike. That means whatever comes up radically too fast will come down radically too fast too.